am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand, who is not the shepherd and does not own the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and runs away, and the wolf snatches them and scatters them. The hired hand runs away because the hired hand does not care for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me, just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep that do not belong to this fold. I must bring them also, and they will listen to my voice. So there will be one flock, one shepherd. For this reason the Father loves me, because I lay down my life in order to take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it up again. I have received this command from my Father.
Jenny, this Good Shepherd imagery is so powerful and so embedded in our Christian culture. It's really, and this passage is so well known. It's almost, it's quite difficult to think of a way to get into it. But I wondered if this little fella is a good way of getting in. This is yours, and you bought it in Bethlehem, I see. So it's presumably olive wood.
Yes.
But beautifully smooth and finished off and cradling a lovely little lamb.
There's a funny thing about this, because when they're made on the machine, they're actually smoother than when they're hand carved. And so, if it had been actually made by hand, it would be more rugged. And maybe more like a shepherd, because it's almost like they've sort of smoothed. And I think of like a Christmas card, Bethlehem shepherd, they're all cleaned up, but I mean, we know that actually they were jolly rugged, rough
and that's
characters.
Part of the problem with a passage that's so well known, isn't it? We don't really look at the passage because we hear Good Shepherd and say, I know what that's about.
Yeah, we sort of think of a stained glass window or something very sanitised, I suppose, almost.
So here we have a good shepherd, a shepherd who was not part of the best of society. In fact, their word was not taken as reliable at all, was it?
So they wouldn't have been a good witness.
Not a good witness, but contrasted with the hired hand.
Yeah.
So that's always interesting to look for contrasts in the Gospels. And
someone who's not committed to the sheep, and so therefore when the going gets tough, when the wolf comes, just ditches them and looks after their own skin.
And of course in our tradition, Anglican church tradition, as in the Catholic Church, we have the shepherd, the bishop is the shepherd and carries the crozier, and so it is a model for leadership. And we're used to that sort of model of the in some ways, John, we get quite a strong picture of a shepherd here in that, he takes control, he lays down his life, which is the servanthood, but it's sort of very, I choose to do this, I'm not being forced into this. No, and I think that's the key thing, that he chooses to do it. It's not forced.
Because sometimes we can always pitch sort of God the Father and poor Jesus sort of
being pushed around.
Being pushed around, but you don't get that impression here of
I have
Jesus.
Power to lay it down, and I have power to take it up again. The last couple of words of that passage.
So it's not denying that leadership has power, or maybe it's more authority is a word that power we tend to see as quite a power corrupts, but here he does seem to speak with some sort of authority. Yeah.
What about this verse 16 is a bit of a tricky one. I have other sheep that do not belong to this fold. I mean, I guess we could keep it in the Christian context and talk about all different denominations and wanting to be one fold, one flock. But there will be other people who will say, well, this actually refers to a much wider, humankind.
Yep.
And that's not always, it doesn't go down so well in all Christian circles, where we want to be, too often I think, want to be black and white, and maybe there are boundaries that aren't quite so tightly drawn.
And anyone, it's the factor for them seems to be that they will listen to my voice. So is it anyone who hears
my voice,
God calling them in Jesus, who responds there? And it is. I suppose it's always a challenge, a threat to include others who might not be like ourselves, or perhaps hear a different voice to us.
Some interesting thoughts in this Good Shepherd. Certainly not just to be glossed over and thought, we know all about it. Let's not dig anymore.
Yes, no, always more for us. And
Well, you take care of your little man there.
I'm keeping my little shepherd. Yeah.